Hello, and welcome to Willow Waves, a student-produced podcast that brings together young minds to explore and discuss current events and topics that connect all of us.
Aviation has truly gone a long way since the very first flight in 1992 with new ideas left and right. There are plenty of future opportunities for reduced aerial emissions and ingenious aircraft designs in the future. Many companies, such as Boeing and Airbus, are constantly clashing in the commercial aircraft, as well as competitors in the military market. I am Nicholas, and today on Willow Waves, we will be interviewing Torrence, Deputy Director for ANGB. In her role, Ms. Torrence helps shape the future of system engineering across the National Airspace System, NAS, making our sky stay safe, efficient, and innovative. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So, what does the FAA do to help keep airplanes and passengers safe?
Yeah, so the FAA does a lot of things to help keep passengers safe. So where I work at the FAA Technical Center in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And we have a whole campus here where we do a lot of research and development and testing of many different things. We test for fire safety. We test the pavement that the airplanes land on. We test the exterior of the aircraft to make sure they can handle the pressure on takeoff and landing. And we also have a facility that simulates all of the air traffic control systems that we have that air traffic controllers use. So before any of those systems go out to be used with live air traffic, we test them here at the Tech Center with live air traffic controllers to make sure that they work the way they're supposed to, looking for any issues. But those systems are used to help air traffic controllers keep airplanes separated during flight and then also during takeoff and landing.
That's very interesting. How do you help test or approve new aircraft designs?
So we test the components of the aircraft themselves. Like I mentioned, we test the exterior of the plane. We test the interior for fire safety. But then we also have test flights. We have our own fleet of aircraft here that we fly and we monitor to see how they do in different conditions. And every airplane that flies has to be certified before it is used with the flying public. So we have an entire division that goes out and looks and certifies aircraft to make sure that they don't have any issues before they're used.
What's the coolest or most unusual airplane you've ever seen?
Yeah, so I had a chance to go out to Boeing's factory out in Seattle, Washington. They were doing test flights on a 777, a 777. It was a little bit of a new design, and what was interesting about that was that there were no seats in the airplane. It was the whole middle of it was empty. And then there were sensors that were all over the plane, cameras on the outside that were filming it during takeoff and landing. And yeah, it was really cool to see the inside of an empty plane, right? You would think it would look really big, but actually it looked surprisingly small. But they had all sorts of things on that plane to test it as they were flying it. But that was pretty cool. I had never seen an airplane that big that was empty like that. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. What training or education did you need to work at the FAA?
So the FAA, actually, most people think air traffic controllers, but we actually have all sorts of careers here. We have doctors and nurses and scientists. And then we also have, and I'm an engineer. So we have engineers from a lot of different engineering disciplines. So we have hardware engineers and software engineers and chemical engineers and mechanical engineers. And so for me, I went to college for math and computer science for my undergraduate degree, and then I got a master's degree in software engineering. But then we also have air traffic controllers. They go to college specifically for that, and then they receive additional training. So there are a lot of different jobs, a lot of different careers that require a lot of different types of education.
Will new aircraft designs introduce fuel regulations? If so, how is this?
Yeah, so we're always working on that, especially with industry, with the airline industry themselves. So really, we're looking at a couple of new types of aircraft design that will make the aircraft, as well as some new components for the aircraft that will make them lighter, reduce drag, make them more fuel efficient. And then the other thing we do with our air traffic control systems is we really work to try to make the flight paths as short and direct as possible, because the shorter the flight path, the less fuel they're using and the less emissions that are given off.
What happens if a new aircraft does not pass all the safety checks?
So if it does not pass the safety checks, it does not fly. And there are a few different things. I mentioned some that we do early on in an airplane design, but also there's an inspection that is done periodically according to the parts of a plane that might be most likely to suffer some damage over time. So some are done on a monthly basis, some are done on a yearly basis. But if an aircraft is deemed not to be safe, it is not used. And either if it's a small repair that's required, they will have a crew come out. That's sometimes why our flights are delayed, while a crew comes out to fix something. If it's a larger issue, they may pull it into an aircraft hangar to do the repairs, or it may be pulled off the line completely, depending on the extent of the repair that's needed.
Have aircraft design? Are there any new technologies that the FAA is excited about in aircraft design?
Yeah, so I mentioned that we're looking to do a few changes. We're looking at, instead, and this is part of the research and development that takes place here, we're looking at, right now, airplane pieces are riveted together, the components, but we're looking at using bonding instead, which would be different types of glue. But in order to do that, to have things bonded together and prove that it's safe, we have to test them under different conditions. So we have to test them under different temperatures, both cold temperatures, hot temperatures, test them under pressure before we deem it safe. So that's one type of technology. The other type of technology that we're looking at right now, together with the airline industry, is right now airplanes are built with basically a tube and then wings that are attached as separate pieces. We're looking at a type of design where rather than having the separate pieces, they're connected. They call that bonded wings, and that can help eliminate the drag on an aircraft and make it more fly more smoothly, which goes back to the fewer emissions as well. And it also turns out it makes the interior of the plane wider as well. So that's something, it's been tried before, but we're bringing it back and doing some research and development on that as well.
What advice would you give a kid who wants to design an aircraft someday?
Yeah, so really it's stay in school, go to school, go to college, figure out what area that you are most interested in and one that makes you excited. We have, as I mentioned, a lot of different careers. Not everyone here at the FAA designs aircraft, but we have people that help test them, people that help control them, people that design the software systems that are contained within them. So find the area that interests you most, and then go to school for that, and travel a lot. Learn as much as you can while you're flying. Ask questions. If you have an opportunity to tour one of our facilities, definitely take that opportunity, as well as others. I know like Boeing offers tours. So if it's something that someone's really interested in as a career, there are a lot of opportunities to learn and absorb that information, and then decide which area you'd like to focus on.
Have you ever worked with pilots?
Yes, I have. So I work with pilots a lot. Working with pilots is interesting. We need their input as we're designing different things that go into the cockpit. I worked on a system that sent messages back and forth from air traffic controllers to pilots. So I needed to make sure that both the pilots understood what the messages meant, and that the air traffic controllers understood what they were sending and what the responses meant. And a lot of that was getting them in the room at the same time and going over from both of their perspectives what they would be seeing so that they could agree on something and understand both sides of that message. Very, very interesting to work with pilots. They have some great stories that they love to share, which is another way to learn. If you know someone who is a pilot or you have an opportunity to talk to one, ask them questions about some of the things that they experience as they're flying, and I can guarantee they love to talk about what they do, and they always have some great stories to share.
Oh, thank you for this interview.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So, in conclusion, there are many concepts of aviation that are very exciting and ingenious, such as designs to offer less aerial pollution, faster speed, better reconnaissance, and better flying equipment. KV has done a lot for the aviation industry, ensuring success for the future of aviation. Aviation is a relatively new field in which we have sacrificed much in order to make travel much easier. This podcast helps reveal the future character of aviation and what you can expect to happen in the future. Thank you for listening to this podcast.